The Corvette is an American icon, and this one is a convertible, so I could do some Magnum PI shit. But this car has been out for 5 years, the mid-engine Corvette. It's a bit old now, so my interior review is going to be irrelevant because next year it's getting a facelift, but I think this car has some important context for the $100,000 mid-engine sports car market, so let's talk about it. For 5 years, the Corvette has been pretty much the same. The Stingray, at least, it's the same 495 horsepower with performance exhaust. If you don't get the performance exhaust, you get 490 horsepower. But 6.2 liter small block V8. Cam in block goodness. It's not like the Z06 or the ZR1, which has 4 cams now, which is Corvette blasphemy, just like the mid-engine-ness of it. But I think we're all used to it by now. The days of the C7 and the C6 are far behind us, and now I'm used to this Corvette. I'm used to this just being a mid-engine sports car Corvette, which is really strange. Design is subjective, but I think there's some objective beef I have with this car. So the wheels are too small for the body, so it looks all a bit hapless. This very strange amount of fender on here for a mid-engine car. There's no engine to worry about, so I don't know why they didn't sink that down. The front end is very tall. For some reason, it's almost like a front engine car with the amount of area here, and there's big radiators up front, which are great for cooling, a bit awkward for design. But my biggest beef with this car is over on the side. This massive slash in the cheek of the car, and then this. God, I don't like this. Just big square, whatever, and then this huge extension in the back for the trunk. I just think this car doesn't look great as a Stingray. It has to be a Z06 or a ZR with that width to make it work. It's still an awkward looking object. It looks very much like a first attempt at a mid-engine sports car, which this is for Corvette. But if you're into it, I won't fault it. It looks cool if you're into the maximal aesthetic. Then there's this interior, which I think has aged really well. And look at us, we're in the shade now where it's nice and cold, and I can show you the entire thing. Same basic setup as in 2020. You have 2 screens in front of you, nice big LCD display that's reasonably nice, good refresh rate-ish, kind of. It's a bit slow sometimes. This is the part that ages it. This tiny center setup that it just looks so old. But that's gonna get fixed next model year with the big Cadillac hyperscreen. So that criticism is moot, you don't have to worry about that. The rest of it, really nice. The fit and finish is lovely. It feels special and exotic in here. $600 competition bucket seats, which are worth the money. Feels nice, no rattles, quiet with the top up, lovely top-down arrow. This is a great place to actually spend time. The cockpit feel is maybe not for everybody. If you're a bigger person, I can see how you might not fit in this. It's really narrow in here and it's kind of fitted around you. Even for me, I'm not a large person and feels like a small cabin. Might not be for you, but I enjoy it. Feels special, feels fitted. Don't love this steering wheel. They need to make this a circle, not a square. Idiotic, stupid. The paddles are obnoxious, listen. It's the loudest paddle shift I've ever heard. Otherwise, in this incredible orange on orange spec, the outside and the inside, special place to be, exotic place to be. Normally, I'd show you the engine right now, but it's under a cover under the tonneau. It doesn't really look like anything, so I think we should just go for a drive. Before I set off, I have to put the top up because it's really windy and you won't be able to hear me, so. There's the mechanism. You could do it up to 30 miles an hour. Not the fastest thing in the world, but it works. Takes a bit. Still going, and windows up, we're good to go, okay. First thing you do, I set up Z mode. So I have Z mode set up with a bunch of the sports stuff, but with soft dampers. But for the canyons right now, we will do track mode, which is the most aggressive. Put it on D, manual. Why don't we do a little launch control? Let's do it. Press and hold brake. And let's go. Okay. Shift's pretty hard. Damn, the launch control shift is fun. It like kicks you into gear, huh? Anyways, Corvette. Immediate first thing about this car is the gearbox. The gearbox is lovely. It's a Tremec TR9080 dual clutch 8-speed, specifically made for the Corvette, and it's really good. I'm like amazed. It's like PDK beating, I'd say, almost. Maybe not in emotion, but in terms of snappiness, the upshifts are ridiculously fast. The downshifts, pretty quick. Porsche dual clutch, sorry for anyone who is wondering what PDK is, which is the de facto industry standard. The downshifts aren't as snappy as PDK, and definitely there's not a big blip on downshifts. There's not a lot of emotion there, but the upshift, instant, snappy, fast. Let's see you. Yep. Problem is if you bang the limiter a little bit, it kind of coughs on the upshift, which isn't great, but it's kind of fine. It figures itself out quick. It doesn't really get terribly confused, but here we go. Got it. Yeah. Oh, that's such a good engine, man. You hear the thing fire up, and it's a 6.2 liter small block V8. It is an LT. It is the Cam block king. It is still such a good motor. And what's strange about this compared to a C7, and again, it's odd talking about this because this car is such old news at this point. It's 5 years old, they're gonna facelift it next year. Compared to a C7, the character of the engine is so different. It doesn't have a lot of low-end torque, or at least it doesn't feel like it does. And it's much revier than a C7 is. You have to kind of work this thing above $3,000 to get it to start singing for it to make the 495 horsepower that it does. But up top, it's quick, man. You tip in at 2,000, it doesn't feel like a small block, but you tip in at $3,000 and you rev it to its 6,500 RPM redline, and man, that's a fast car. And that leads me to the next thing. What a good chassis. What an unbelievably great chassis. You can feel what it really wants to do. You can feel the dual wishbones all around. You can feel the geometry really just having a fundamentally good. Oh yeah, this is GM at its best right here. GM chassis team unmatched when they really want to be. The thing with this car, it's mid-engine. It is set up a little safe. The handling is incredible, no doubt. You can feel it in the transitions, how this car is just well balanced, has good geometry, good spring rates, all this stuff for what it is. Really incredible dampers. The ride is amazing, and the body control is also amazing. It's the latest generation of magnetic dampers from GM. Just absolutely unbelievable. The ride around town is literally Rolls-Royce. It is so smooth, and then you put it in track mode, and it has impeccable body control. The mid-corner bumps are just filed right down. It's like they're not even there. You get a little in the body, that's it, just for communication. The one thing with this car is a lot of people accuse it of being understeery, and I think people misunderstand how understeer happens, especially in a mid-engine car. What you can't do in the Corvette is offer it throttle too early, because you'll pull the weight right off the nose, make it lift up, and there's nothing up there to stop it, to help push the tires down, to put it in layman's terms. So you go to throttle too early, the car's gonna understeer. What you have to do is drive it like a mid-engine car. You have to help it along with the brakes, you have to roll off the throttle, you have to let it do stuff in the mid-corner, you have to work the car. I find it to not be that pushy. It is ultimately set up really safe. I can see that. I can see how GM didn't want to scare off C7 owners with mid-engine rotation, because these cars, they can catch you out. Mid-engine cars can come around if you don't drive them properly. This won't. You can feel it leaning on the outer rear tire, and then you pick up the throttle, kind of pushes a little bit. You can really carefully choose which tire to load up, and that's a trait of a great sports car. That's a trait of a Cayman, that's a trait of a BRZ, and the Corvette has that. This is really spectacular, and I don't think, a C7 was really nice, but it didn't quite feel like this. And when I start thinking about the price, which I always do, price is such a factor these days because cars are so expensive. $106,000, I'm like, man, that's expensive territory. You're talking used mid-tier 911s. You're talking about a new Cayman GTS 4-liter, which is such a good car. The manual transmission, the sound, the everything, the handling, that car was so beautifully done. And I think this car objectively outdoes it in terms of handling. The handling is much more precise, not quite as rotating as the Cayman, but the actual feeling of what I'm doing is much stronger. And that's just by virtue of all-around dual wishbones versus the Cayman strut suspension. And I think GM's chassis guys are just better. This car rides better and handles better and deals with bumps better, but also has better body control than the Cayman. The Cayman is a little stiff at times. How can you not love a mid-engined 6.2 liter naturally aspirated V8 sports car with a top that goes off? That is something to be celebrated. I love that. And then you can have this thing with a Z06 engine, LT5. You can have it with a flat plane V8. You can have it with now the ZR1, the twin turbo, the LT6, 1,064 horsepower. This platform is so versatile. It's so cool. So I was sitting here thinking, man, the Stingray must be kind of lame because it's built for the Z06, right? This is a lovely car. This thing, as option though, is a 3LT Z51. So it's pretty much the highest spec you can get, which is why it's 106. You can get it for much cheaper. You can get it in the 70s, 80s, which my colleague Chris Perkins drove a base Corvette, base Stingray, and he said it was also lovely. It doesn't need all the doodads to be this good. And maybe that's your move, is for cheaper, you have a car that is so powerful, is so good, it's great at handling, genuinely lovely to drive every day because the ride quality is so good. You get decent fuel economy, low 20s, you know, could be better, but I guess it's a V8, you know what I mean? It goes for objective engineering excellence, which I can really respect. But I think what makes a Ferrari, what makes a Porsche, what makes these cars is subjective character and sort of flaws. If I'm gonna get into journalist pedantics of complaining the car is too perfect, I refuse to do that. This car is objectively really good, and I'm not gonna tell them to make it worse on purpose. Because this car actually, the Stingray has so much character compared to a Z06, I think. It's that small block, it's that sound, it's just so good old boy American, versus the Z06, which feels like a discount Ferrari. I'd rather have the whole of one thing rather than the discount of another. That's my take on the Stingray. The C8 Stringray, one of the last cars standing in the $100,000 sports car market. The Cayman's gonna die. There's a bunch of other things that don't really exist anymore. So there is this for a mid-engined, simple sports car. You can get it at a base price of 60 to 70-ish, which is a lot of bang for the buck. It has incredible suspension, incredible handling. The steering is okay, it's pretty good actually. I can't deny that this drives wonderfully. It drives with a bit more precision than a Cayman, just down to the architecture, down to the dual wishbones and GM's incredible chassis team, and they're just so good at their job. They're Porsche rivaling, and when they update it next year with a better interior, man, where else are you gonna buy a 6.2 liter NA mid-engine V8 sports car? Come on, guys.